boy, we're looking good right now. So stay tuned.
Welcome to Art's Place, conservative talk from a different view. From the Casablanca studio in Golden, Colorado. Hosted by Art Carlson. At 4'6", liberals fear him, and conservatives love him. He's definitely a giant among men. Now, here's your host, Art Carlson.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Art's Place Conservative Talk right here on YouTube. Hey, this channel is really growing. We're up to 71 subscribers and growing all the time because, you know why? Because I bring good content to you guys. Things you want to hear and the truth. So, today the big story of today is I'm going to expose Dudley Brown as the charlatan that he is. He's the organizer and head of Rocky Mountain Gun Owners and National Association of Gun Rights and some of the scorched earth tactics that he's used. And I've talked about him a little bit over the past few shows. Now I'm going to really go in depth about Dudley Brown. Alright, let's get back here. Alright, Flatliners, welcome in. Good to see you, Steve, and Instigator. Good to see you. We got a good show today. We're going to talk about Dudley Brown. He is head of an organization here in Colorado, Rocky Mountain Gun Association. Yeah, organization. And no, Rocky Mountain Gun Owners. And he also has a national group called National Association of Gun Rights. And we're going to talk about, you know, some of the mischief that he's caused here in Colorado and how he's basically thrown a lot of races to the Democrats. And we'll talk about that. But the big thing that we're going to talk about is Convention of States. That's Article 5, Convention of States, that was written into the Constitution by our founding fathers in case government got too big, that the citizens can get together and get delegates to amend the Constitution. And this is a way to get the states involved in amending the Constitution. And here's the kicker. You know who's against this? George Soros. He's got a big organization that goes around and tries to get state legislators to not go or work with Convention of States. And one of them is Center on Budget and Policy. And also there's another one sponsored by Soros, Center on Budget Policy and Priorities. And what they do is they have their little lobbyists and they go around the country to all the state legislators to say, hey, we don't want this. And they convince a few state legislators to say, hey, let's don't go ahead with this convention of states. Guess what? Guess who's also against convention of states? You guessed it, Dudley Brown. Now, Dudley Brown, he claims that he's all about the Second Amendment and liberty and freedom. Yet, he doesn't want to use convention of states because, hey, that's what it's all about, giving freedom and liberty back to the citizens. Now, this is why Dudley Brown is against this, because he wants to create turmoil and also keep Democrats in control of the state government, because he could use that, he could leverage that into money coming into his organizations by sending out newsletters and emails saying, oh, the state legislature, they're going to pass this legislation that's going to affect your gun ownership. And they scare people, and people goes, well, by God, let me get my wallet, let me get my checkbook. And they write him a check, and where does that money go? Well, he does fund, or he contributes to candidates that they approve of, that they've nurtured and formed and kind of made them an ally of their organization. And what they do is so the money goes to those candidates. They caress and nurture them, and then they give them money to and what ends up happening is there's a primary in a lot of these close races. And what ends up happening is we get crappy candidates who can't win. I'll give you a case in point. A few years ago, back in around, I think, 2014, a candidate out of Colorado Springs area came out, and he's a former chaplain of the Air Force, I believe, Air Force or Navy. His name is Gordon Klingenschmidt. And he was thrown out of the service because he violated orders. And when you're in the military, when the military says you can't do something or you should do something, you do it. You follow orders. And he wasn't going to do that. So they kicked him out of the service. He moves here to Colorado and starts his own Christian church here in Colorado, and he starts a YouTube channel. You can follow him on YouTube, Gordon Klingenschmidt. Well, he decided to run for state rep and won his race because he was in a safe Republican district, and he didn't have to worry about losing. So what he did was, while he was a state legislator, he worked with a lot of Republicans and voted on a lot of really controversial conservative bills, and like conversion therapy, which is all about parents who want to take their gay son or daughter and send them to a shrink and convince them, hey, this is wrong and you shouldn't do that, and they convert them back to being a heterosexual. And, you know, I'm about liberty, and I'm like, and freedom. I'm like going, hey, I don't care what you do in your own bedroom. Hey, if you swing that way, fine. That's none of my business. But I'm on the fence about parents who want to do this. I think it's kind of nuts. I think it's a form of child abuse, I think. But hey, they are the parents of these kids. As long as they're not threatening the lives of the children, then, it's up to them. So that's where I go on that. Okay, so Gordon Kleinschmidt. While he was a state rep, he continued with his church and continued to do YouTube stuff. And then what happened during his not his administration, but during his term, a woman was killed and her unborn child was ripped out of her abdomen, and he made a statement to the effect that, well, hey, he made an outrageous statement. You'll have to go to his, you know what I'll do? I'll go. I will Google this. Outrageous Gordon Clement. Okay. Okay. Here we go. And this is in okay. And this was an article written by Lynn Bartles of the Denver Post. I'll read the article here. A state lawmaker says it's wrong of House Minority Leader Brian Del Grosso to kick Representative Gordon Kleinschmidt off committee because controversy surrounding Kleinschmidt's curse of God comments following attack on a pregnant woman whose fetus was ripped from her womb. Representative Justin Everett, Republican of Littleton, who, by the way, is one of Dudley Brown's minions, and we'll talk about him in a second. Say he's not endorsed what Kleinschmidt said, but he's defending his right to say it. Everett said that if allowed, he plans to address the entire House Tuesday morning because he's concerned about what he sees as a dangerous precedent. This is where I disagree on Justin. This is very similar to the Todd Akins statement. And you know what? Republican Party, we should not allow this kind of statements to be made by our party. It gives us a black eye. And Justin Everett is saying, oh, well, he's got a First Amendment right and blah, blah, blah. He shouldn't be. It's like, Justin, that is not the point. The point is, this guy made an outrageous statement that hurt the party. And it gives the Democrat Party even more ammunition by saying, see, look at those Republicans. They're a bunch of Bible-thumping boobs. We can't have people like that in the legislature. All right. We'll go on. Klingenschmitt said his committee removal was unfair, but he suspended his ministry for 6 weeks. Meanwhile, one of Klingenschmitt's fellow El Paso County Republicans, State Senator Owen Hill, weighed in on the controversy with a newsletter entitled Klingenschmitt's Biblical Blunder. Klingenschmitt referenced a passage from Hosea. In his remarks, Hill said it was more appropriate to turn to Jesus' word and actions in Luke 13. Klingenschmitt, Hill wrote, is not the first misuse of Scripture. Hill also called for Klingenschmitt's resignation. Right on, Owen. Klingenschmitt has taken heat since last week for comments he made on daily online show Pray in Jesus' Name concerning the attack on a 26-year-old Longmont woman by a stranger. Michelle Wilkins lived, but her baby girl, a 34-week-old girl, did not. This is the curse of God upon America for our sins of not protecting innocent children in the womb, and part of the curse for our rebellion against God as a nation is that our pregnant women are ripped open, Klingenschmitt said. He apologized during his show on Monday for his remarks. The program was taped Sunday in Colorado Springs. Del Grosso on Monday removed Klingenschmitt from House Health, Insurance, Environment Committee, saying he felt he had to take some sort of disciplinary action because of the lawmaker's insensitive remark. But Everett said voters in Klingenschmitt's Colorado Springs district knew what they were getting when they voted him in November. After the former naval chaplain won primary about his controversial statements on everything from gays to President Obama. And so I'm not going to read the whole article, but that's the gist of it. And he also made other stupid comments, and what happened to Gordon Klingenschmitt is after his term expired, you're in Colorado, you are given 4 2-year terms in the House and 2 4-year terms in the Senate. Well, there was a seat open in his Senate district, so he decided to run for that seat. Well, he was in another primary with Bob Gardner. And Bob Gardner, who is, what we would call a conservative moderate Republican, was his challenger. Well, Gordon Klingenschmitt got killed in the primary. So that ended his career right there. So he was one of Dudley Brown's minions in the state Senate, and so is Justin Everett and several other state legislators. Give you a little bit of background on Dudley Brown. People may or may not know this, that he has an arrest record. He was arrested in 1981 for possession of cocaine. And then 3 years later, he was arrested again for assault. So he has an arrest record. So, and we want this kind of person running a Second Amendment organization. I mean, the guy obviously has anger issues. I'll give you a case in point. A few years ago, when the gun debate was raging here in Colorado, and the Democrats took control of both houses and decided to pass gun control legislation that limited the size of gun magazines. And so this started off a recall movement. Now get this. Rocky Mountain gun owners, Dudley Brown, was not interested in the recall. It wasn't until after 2 state legislators were recalled, and Evie Hudak, who at that time, well, let's see, was Evie Hudak, who was being threatened with recall, and it looked like the measure was going to go to the voters. She resigned, and the Democrats appointed Rachel Zenzinger. And it wasn't until that recall movement was getting underway that Dudley Brown and RMGO decided to back this. So it shows you that we're sort of for gun rights, and then we're not, and then we're, I don't know. We like liberty, but then we're not, and yeah, you get what I mean? So I will, okay. Then there's an article here in what's the name of this? In 5280 that talks about Dudley Brown. This is June of 2014. The new front in Dudley Brown's war, Jefferson County. And it goes on about a candidate for state senate, Lang Sias, who was the former lieutenant governor candidate in this last election. He was going to fill out a survey, and he was going to personally deliver it to Dudley Brown, but decided to not to do that. So Lang says, I just couldn't do it. For me, run for state senate, I'd be beholden to the Constitution and to the people of the district, not an outside power broker. At the end of the day, I'd rather lose than be in the guy's pocket. Well, which I understand that. And Dudley Brown is notorious in Colorado Republican circles for his scorched earth tactics against GOP candidates who don't fill out a survey which asks candidates to declare their absolute support for gun rights and their commitment for fighting against or repeal gun efforts. The survey itself comes with an intimidating cover sheet informing the candidate we expect legislators to live up to their word and threaten familiar brand of retribution should they fail to fill it out. Failure to respond will mean we have to tell citizens that you do not care enough about their gun rights to fill out the survey and can't be counted on to defend those rights. Now, here's the other point. Line Science is a member of the NRA, and he filled out their survey, and he got high marks for that. So for Dudley Brown to say something like this is just outrageous. Alrighty. And then here in, well, and this is from jeffcopolls.com. Nothing escalates GOP infighting like a mugshot of Dudley Brown. Okay, and this is what RMGO is all about. If you don't fill out their survey, this is what's going to happen. They sent out an email promoting a website called LineScienceExposed.com, which appears to be the brainchild of Rocky Mountain gun owners and their leader, one Dudley Brown. Alright, and then later on in this article, today someone named Jay Vogel tweeted out an old mugshot of Dudley Brown, which stems from 1988. I'm sorry, I didn't mean 81. Charge of unlawful use controlled substance in Larimer County. Vogel says it was for cocaine possession. It's possible that he was mixing up the mugshot, since Brown was also arrested in Denver in 1991 on charges of disturbing the peace and assault. So if you want to see this picture, it's at coloradopolls.com. You just type in Dudley Brown's arrest record, and it shows a mugshot of Dudley Brown. And also, and here's an article from AmmoLand. Dudley Brown and NAGR's despicable deception. And it talks about all kinds of shenanigans that Dudley Brown has done around the nation. He's done the same kind of tactics in other states. It says in this article, in his latest effort to raise money for his own self-aggrandizement, Dudley Brown has launched a vicious canard against Alan Gottlieb, accusing the veteran gun rights advocate of leading the fight for national gun registration. Alan Gottlieb has never advocated for gun registration in his life. His legislative efforts have been to prevent that, and Dudley knows that. Sean Toner, Deputy Chief of Staff for former Republican Colorado Governor Bill Owens, was quoted by the Denver magazine asserting all Dudley wanted to do was create controversy. He makes his money when there's turmoil, real or perceived. because that's what gets his members to write him checks, and that's true. So it doesn't matter if the Republicans win or lose. As a matter of fact, it's better for Dudley Brown to have Democrats in control of the state house here in Colorado, because it brings him more money. He is nothing more than a charlatan. And so going back to the Convention of States, this was probably in 2016 or maybe before then. I became a member of RMGO, but this was before I knew anything about Dudley Brown, because back then I was this naive person, who's been a lifelong Republican, who decided to get involved in the GOP. And, I was a great admirer of Dudley Brown for a while. And then the more I got to know more about him and some of the things he's done and said, I just like, whoa, I can't take this. And I took a step back and watched what he's doing, and it's like, man, this guy is nuts. And I started to see him for what he really is. So back in, I think it was 2014 or 2016, when the Convention of States was, rolling through Colorado, and there were several prominent people in the GOP, activists, that were pushing for this. Well, I get an email from Dudley Brown saying, hey, we gotta get these state legislators to not go along with the Convention of States, or we'll primary them. And I'm like, whoa, and this blew me away, because Convention of States is about the citizens taking back their government. And Dudley Brown comes up with this really hokey idea. Well, what if George Soros decides to use Convention of States? And I'm like, you know what? That falls flat on its face right there, because why would you want to do that when he already has his appointed liberal judges doing all the legislating for him? He doesn't need to go through Convention of States. All he has to do is get liberal Democrats, I'm talking about progressives, to appoint liberal judges who will legislate from the bench. But when he decided that he was going to threaten legislators who followed that, and I'm like, give me a break. So that's when I started to do my Dudley Brown, anti-Dudley Brown crusade. And I'm like hey, this guy is a phony. He's not about gun rights. He's about making money, and it keeps him in the spotlight, and that gives him power. There are several other candidates or state legislators that he's backed, but they're in safe Republican districts. And boy, they've been nothing but absolute boobs. I mean, and I love them all. They're nice people, but they do the dumbest things. Like Vicky Marble with her fried chicken comments that the local press has blown up into this racial, insensitive racial statement, which was a no-brainer. It was just like, what? And then Lori Sane, who's in another safe district, she got arrested for something, and I forgot what it was, but I will talk about that a little later. And then you got Gordon Klingenschmidt, and these are all Republicans that are in safe districts. Well, Justin Everett, he's in a safe district. This last election cycle, he decided, you know what, I'm going to run for state treasurer. And guess what? He was defeated in the primary, and, well, you know what happened in the election is everybody up and down the list, you know, from governor on down, got shellacked. They all got thrown out. I mean, even people that were, you know, Secretary of State and Treasurer, they got defeated. Attorney General. And I think Dudley Brown is jumping up and down for joy, saying, "Oh boy, look at I'll be swimming in money." Now, the reason I wanted to point this out is I want to let people know that you're wasting your money donating to this charlatan. Stop sending him money. There's a real organization here in Colorado called the Firearms Coalition of Colorado, run by Steve Schreiner. He's a great guy. He's really looking out for your Second Amendment rights. He's not a blowhard like Dudley Brown. He doesn't threaten people. He's a lobbyist. He goes down to Capitol here in Colorado. He goes to Washington, D.C., talks to people there, and he does his job. Dudley Brown is like a bull in a China factory or China shop, just knocking things over and not getting anything done. So, folks, you truly care about gun rights, donate your money to the NRA, or to, if you're here in Colorado, Firearms Coalition of Colorado. You know what? I will look that up. Firearms Coalition of Colorado. Okay. Alright, I'm trying to look up where they're Okay, their address is P.O. Box 3313, Manassas, Virginia. And their email is webmaster@firearmscoalition.com. Okay, so this is another organization that that works along with NRA. Okay. FCC. Okay, I'm trying to Okay, please support Firearms Coalition of Colorado. $35 a year in efforts to protect gun rights. Okay, now if I could find their address. Oh, they have a Facebook page, Colorado Firearms Coalition. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. But yeah, I would donate my money to these guys and stay away from RMGO and NAGR because they're not looking out for you. They're only looking out for your money. That's all they want. Now, I don't know if Dudley is funneling this money to his private use or what. I'm not saying anything to that. I'm just pointing out to the fact that what Dudley Brown is doing is harming, not helping firearms legislation. And so if we get people to stop sending him money and his funds start to dry up, then maybe he'll go away. Or if we could set up an organization that checks on his financial donations, maybe, just maybe, we could find a way to nail him on some discrepancies in his donations to candidates and to organizations. And because whenever you have a crook like that, there's going to be some more really bad stuff out there. So let's take him on and let's get him out of there. All right, we're really blazing along here. All right, let's go on to other topics here. Let's talk about what's going on here in Colorado. Like I haven't been. Oh, anyway, the state legislators just passed the national popular vote, bypassing the electoral college, and it is on its way to the governor's desk, who Governor Polis said he will sign that bill, making Colorado a part of a compact of states to basically say, we don't care about our citizens. We'll just let California, New York, and Illinois vote for who the next president's going to be. So this is all about sour grapes over Donald Trump winning the election. I think what happened was Hillary Clinton was a terrible candidate, and she overestimated the polls, and she got killed in the election. And so now liberals are all upset, and they say, you know what, we're going to change it. We're going to change the rules so we'll win. You know, what'll end up happening is you still won't win, but you know what? We might get a worse candidate for president, or a worse president than you think you have right now. Wait until you get a libertarian, or heaven forbid, a white supremacist group gets in. I mean, that could happen, because what that'll mean is all the votes will be, well, the winner will win by a plurality instead of a majority. You'll never have another president win by a majority. Because if we did it that way, I mean, look at it this way. What'll end up happening is whoever has the most votes, but it's under 50%, is going to win. I mean, look at Bill Clinton. He won both times without a majority. So why are you folks complaining? I mean, the first time Clinton won, he only had 43% of the national popular vote. And then the second time he won, he only had like 48 or 49%. Now, if we went to national pop, alright, give you an example. If back in 92, we went to a national popular vote, you know who'd be our president? Ross Perot would have been the president. Because he would have won with something like, he would have had 33% of the vote, and George Bush would still have more votes than Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, I think, would only had 23% of the vote. So you think this is going to help your cause? You are sadly mistaken. And what other, coming up next is the red flag bill. This is a bill to give judges the authority to deem a person mentally incapable of owning a firearm and having their firearms confiscated by the police. And which that is scary, because you could have an ex-girlfriend or an ex-wife call the police or get a hold of a judge saying, hey, I think there's something wrong with my, ex. He's mentally unstable, and he could have his guns taken away. And that's what's scary. That throws out the due process of innocent until proven guilty. This is almost like Mission Impossible, preventing the crime before it happens, that kind of mentality. It's like mind reading. I mean, how do you know what that person's intentions are? And they're going to say, well, look at Holmes. He bought all that ammo and those rifles. What did he need those for? It's like, who cares? I mean, he bought them legally. He passed the background check, and I mean, he bought them illegal. Now here's the deal. Criminals are not going to go through a background check, because they all know that these things are going to stop them. So where do they get their guns? The black market. They steal them, or they get a straw buyer. someone who comes in and buys guns for people, and that's how gang members get their guns. What they do is they get one person who has a spotless record, and they go into a pawn shop, or most likely a pawn shop, and they'll say, well, I want this, 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 and this. And they pass a background check. They take those guns, and then those guns are used in a felony. Several years ago, a local pawn shop owner was busted for this, and I think rightly unfair, because hey, this guy passed the background check. What's he going to say? Hey, you've been here a couple weeks ago. We're not going to sell those guns to you. Yeah, turn away a customer who could be legitimate. He doesn't know. And so instead of, they should go after the straw buyer and not after the pawn shop owners. And that's what kills me about that. So, Steve, do you have any questions for me? I'm glad that you joined in. Hopefully we will have Steve Epstein on next week. He finally did get the equipment that he needed to get online here. But I'm really looking forward to having Steve on. I think he'll make for a better show. And let's get more people out there and build up this channel. Couple weeks ago we had quite a few people in, but they're not here now because it turns out some of them were liberals, and I'm reading some of their comments on Facebook. Oh man. But that's neither here nor there. What was outrageous that the guy said? Which guy are you talking about, Steve? Are you talking about Gordon Kleinschmidt, or do you? Oh, well, he said it was retribution because of abortion here in the United States. He said it's God's, what did he say? Oh, he said it was curse of God. Comments following the attack on the pregnant woman whose fetus was ripped from her womb. Now, this woman was shopping for baby goods. I think she was looking for a crib, and she went on Craigslist, and she found this ad and went to this person's apartment, and turns out this was just a ruse to get a pregnant woman like that. And the woman who posted this ad attacked her, killed her, and ripped the baby out of her womb, and the baby died a few hours later. So what is outrageous is that they say it was the curse of God. And that's what was outrageous. All right. Glad you agree, Steve. And what else is going on? And just a lot of really bad legislation coming down. One of them was, they want to put Colorado on the same uh, air standards that California has. So what that's going to do is that's going to make cars more expensive here in Colorado. Basically what they're trying to do is they're going after people who own diesel vehicles and SUVs. So, and also they are going back to legislation to restrict oil and gas exploration here in Colorado, which is it's just going to kill the business here, and it's going to eliminate a lot of jobs from the state. And when you do that, guess what happens? What else is going to disappear? Tax revenue, and these people don't get it. We want more people earning more money so they generate more tax revenues. And I swear they don't care about revenues. It's all about controlling people. And they don't want people to excel and become prosperous. And I think that's why we have what I would like to call the new progressive billionaires and millionaires. And they made their fortune in capitalism. And what they're doing now is I think they perceive that anybody who becomes prosperous, they perceive that as a threat to their prosperity, because they think that it's shrinking their pie, which if you're an economics major, you're going to say that's not how that happens, because money is it's a ever expanding pie. The more millionaires you have, the pie gets bigger. It's not a threat to other people. Yeah, this kind of reminds me of what the trust people were doing. It's what it does is the Democrats are creating a new trust system like Standard Oil, and it discourages competition, and it discourages new people from getting into that industry. And I think that's what this is all about. Why Democrats have all these billionaires and multi-millionaires throwing their money into their coffers. And it is really screwing up the economy, or has the potential to screw up the economy. I mean, the Democrats now, they're talking about taking the tax rates back up to 90%, like it was before John F. Kennedy became president. Now, John F. Kennedy, when he became president, he brought the tax rate down from, I think it was 91%. He brought that down to 72%. And when that happened, the 60s had an economic boom that lasted for almost a decade, or it did last for a decade until into the 70s. And then in the late 60s, early 70s, the economy started to, dip. And then we kind of just trudged along. And then in the late 70s, that's when the economy went to hell. And Jimmy Carter got elected. And then it really went downhill from there. And that's what brought in Ronald Reagan, who his tax policy gave us a 20-plus year economic boom, which lasted until about 2007, 2008, when we hit a really bad, hard recession. I mean, we've had some light recessions, which were nothing compared to what happened in 2007. Hey, Doug, welcome to the show. I'm just about to wrap it up here. Thanks for jumping in, but you can watch us later after this show is over. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to okay, Britta Horn. All right, so just wanted to let, hey, no problem, Doug. You can watch this from the beginning after the show is over. I am going to post this on my Arts Place Facebook page, and you can watch it from there. But thanks for coming in. So, folks, that is it. I want to thank you for joining in. Next week's going to be a lot of fun. I think when we get Steve Epstein on, we're going to have a really fun show. I think we're going to have a lot more back and forth, and this is going to be a lot more fun. And we're going to get some more guests on the show. I'm going to get Randy Schaefer from America 101 Project. He's out of the Detroit area, and he definitely wants to get on. I tried to get Thaddeus McCotter, the former U.S. Congressman from Michigan, on, but he has some technical issues, such as bad camera, bad, headphones and whatnot. I know what it is why give away something for free when you can go on Fox and get paid for it. And I get that. So it's no biggie. I've had some other people that I've reached out to say that I'd like to come on, but why give something away for free when you get it is what it is. So I will see you all next week, and we will have more stuff to talk about. And you all have a great Sunday. God bless you. God bless the United States and Colorado. See you all next week. Bye-bye.